And welcome back to another Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive. Guys, we are continuing the Dynasty Week as the Dynasty presents Brace for Impact happening this Saturday, live from the Waterville Dome up in Waterville, New York. Definitely get your tickets at purplepass.com. The letter B, the number 4, Impact. That's the letter B, the number 4, Impact. And joining the program tonight, she, as we start the last show and as we've seen in the post on the Dynasty page, has kind of gotten an upgrade, if you want to call it, as she is now the general manager of the Diamonds Division. She's also one half of Matriarchs of the Mat, a fantastic podcast, which we'll get to that towards the end. Making her return, the lovely Miss DeVille. Kristin, how you doing tonight?
Yay! I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you back on the show again, especially with how big of a show the Dynasty has on Saturday.
Is my internet sucking?
A little bit, but we'll work with it.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh no, we'll work with it. We'll work with it. We got this. We got this. I just want to talk briefly about the last show. I don't want to go into full depth on it. It's been talked about quite a bit, but overall, what do you think about the last show?
The last show was one of my favorites, as you probably know by now, because I jumped in the ring. I had enough of Taylor just doing whatever the heck she wants every show. I had enough of Envy bringing these girls in that just they cause mayhem every time. Like, every show was a cluster, excuse my French. It was it was painful to watch. As a former female professional wrestler of many years, I felt insulted. I love women's wrestling, and I will always stand behind women's wrestling, and that's why I did that. That's why I jumped in the ring and took charge, because no one was going to do it for them. So it might as well have been me. So yeah, that was my favorite show.
And I remember when you got into the ring and you cut the promo, and I heard it, and I said this to you afterwards, and I'll say this again. I heard the frustration in your voice. And I said this in a previous interview. Actually, I said this to your former commentary partner there, Johnny Patches. You can hear it in your voice. You're tired of the bullshit. I think that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah. Well, people don't take women's wrestling seriously as it is. And Taylor was giving them a reason more not to take them seriously. Taylor will sit here and be like, oh, you're isolating me. Oh, you're giving me PTSD. Oh, why are you always... Taylor the victim. But you know what? She is the one that causes the most problems. So I'm going to have my eye on her.
Yeah, and I've come to the realization there are certain things you don't want to do, and that you don't want to piss off women. I have learned that myself. You piss off women who have power.
Yeah,
you're screwed. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, well, we'll see how I deal with this new power. I would like to be fair, be a fair manager. I'd like to be a nice manager. I'd like for the women to be able to come to me, and we'll see. No, I have high hopes.
I get that, but you can only be so nice when everybody's on the same page. When you have somebody like Taylor who's causing roughhouse every show, I hate to say this, you can't, you almost have to, I'm about to say it like this, you almost have to become the parent, so to speak, and not the friend. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Or the bad guy. Yeah, or the bad guy. Yeah. Sometimes being the boss means you got to be the bad guy, and I will be enforcing rules, whether they're Taylor or not. Um, I have brought in a few other girls for this show. There will be 6 girls total. One of them being one of my former nemesis. I wrestled her many times. We have an extensive history, and I am proud to be bringing her in to Dynasty.
And actually, I have the graphic. I have the graphic actually right here, and
there they are. There's my girls.
I think the bigger question that a lot of people have, and I guess we'll find this out, at the show, is are all of these women going to be in one match, or is it going to be separate matches, or will that be more for the crowd to find out on Saturday?
To be determined. That is more for the crowd to find out on Saturday. I have a few ideas. but I'm going to keep that one just to me, and you guys will see.
Well, I was saying that because I thought one of the match types
fighting is wrestling.
Well, I always say that because one of the match types I kept saying in the previous previews I've done of this show is I can see like a 5-on-1 match.
5-on-1? In what world would that be fair, John? I just told you I was going to be a fair boss.
I know, but the thing is, I'm only saying that because of what Taylor has done at the last couple of shows.
Taylor's a crybaby, and we all know it.
Oh, I trust me, I know that a lot. But so basically, I think it's safe to say, guys, if you want to find out what's going on with the Diamonds Division, the best way to find out is to be at the Waterville Dome this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
Definitely get your tickets. You're not going to want to miss the show. I've said this in every interview I've done this week. The one thing with Dynasty, because of the fact they're not on IWTV or Fight TV as of now, that could change in the future.
Could.
You don't know what to expect. And I think that's the same thing you can say with the women's division, is you don't know what to expect.
Well, now you can.
Well, yeah, now we can. But the thing is, in the last couple of shows, because of what Taylor has done, we almost didn't know what to expect. I mean, if you go back to the first show.
Oh, I know.
You go back to but if you go back to the Capital Gain show, she was the referee in the Adina Steele, Tiara James match.
Yep.
And she ended up attacking Adina Steele. We haven't seen Adina Steele back in the Dynasty.
Like, that was a great match. That was some super women's wrestling, and Taylor had to friggin' ruin it at the end. And that was my first impression of Taylor. That was my first time meeting Taylor. And I was just like, who is this woman? Why is she attacking people that just had a match?
And then we saw it at the December show when she attacked, Christina Marie, who made her return to the Dynasty for the first time in a couple of years.
Like that, I was thinking the same thing then. Like, what is wrong with you, Taylor?
My whole thing is this. Yes, I know, the Dynasty just made their relaunch back in October. You want to make your name the top of the food chain. But I think
so does everyone else.
Oh, no, and I agree. And I think Taylor kind of went at it, I'm not going to say she went into business for herself, but she kind of thought about herself before the rest of the women's division, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
And I have good faith that I think you're going to be a very fair general manager. But I can also see Taylor just playing it for the other side, for example. I can see Taylor being the type of person to push your buttons.
I'm not as naive as I look.
No,
Have you seen me in the past, John, in wrestling? I don't think you've met that Miss DeVille. She's kind of spicy. She's kind of evil. So I'm not all sugar and spice. I might be now, but there's a little baddie in me still.
Let me ask you this though. Is there a possibility, and this is just pure speculation here, and I'm not saying it for this show, obviously, but at a future Dynasty show, is there a possibility that somehow, if Taylor really pushes your buttons, you can somehow get back into the ring? Possibly? Maybe?
I haven't wrestled in 2 years. 3 years. But if Taylor pushed my buttons enough, never say never.
I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, if you look at WWE, for example, nobody thought we'd see Adam Copeland back in the ring, and he made his return. Bryan Danielson, Saraya, so it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I made a wrestling return after 10 years. So 3 years, not as bad.
No.
Right now, I'm focused on my manager duties, though.
And I get that, and I totally understand that. My whole thing is, and again, like, not for this show, but I'm saying possibly for like a future show, maybe towards the end of this year, if not next year. I'm just throwing it out there.
Never say never, John. But I have to do my workouts. It's a killer queen.
Yeah, I actually did like that. Yeah, that's actually a really nice tattoo.
It's a killer queen. My version of her, anyways.
The version I know was sung by Queen in the 70s.
Yes. And what that song's about, we can't say on the air.
No, we cannot. We cannot. And I know I usually let certain things get by because, of how I approach with the show. But there are certain things, nope, you have to just Google that, folks.
Yeah.
But other than the Diamonds Division match or matches, I don't know how it's going to play out, what's another match you're looking forward to on Saturday?
Who do we have? Who do we have wrestling? Dan. I always love watching Dan wrestle. The main event was it Fox versus Conan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? That one looks fun.
Actually, I can actually do you one better here.
Yeah. That looks like a fun match. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to have to... There's a second. Dan versus Punk is going to be my favorite. Well, actually, the women's division is going to be my favorite. But as for besides them, listen, Punk is on this show. Me and Punk go way back. Me and Punk go way back to when I was age 16. We are very good friends. Me and Dan are very good friends. He was supposed to be in my wedding. So 2 of my great friends facing off against each other, I'm going to be watching it and rooting them both on. I'm going to be like, kick each other's asses.
The only thing, and I said this before with that match specifically, because I've had the chance to have both of them on this podcast. And guys, definitely go back and watch any of the previous interviews. They've all been fantastic interviews. But with those 2 specifically, I agree. I think those 2 are going to probably be, from a storytelling perspective, the one to look out for the most.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like you guys, you yourself and Billy Sir in your interview you did with him on Matriarchs of the Mat, I kind of also got a very emotional Sergeant Fury when I had him on last week.
He's an emotional guy.
Oh, I don't take it away from him. To me, when you're that emotional and your back is against the wall like he is, you become a dangerous individual.
He is dangerous. He can be very dangerous. Have you seen him in there? He's hardcore, man. And so is Punk. Punk is like the king of hardcore around here. So there will definitely be some stuff coming out from under the ring, I think. That is my Premonition.
I mean, I think those two. I think another match people should look out for is Black Rose and Wayno.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Hopefully, when the graphic comes out, when the intro happens for that one, hopefully they can actually spell his Black Rose's name correctly.
Would they misspell it?
Yeah, they spelled it R-O. Hold on, I actually have the individual graphic for that, and they spelled it R-O-S-E.
I mean, that's how you spell Rose, anyways, right?
Yeah, but the way he spells it, it's R-O-Z-E.
Yeah, I know. It's really annoying when people don't spell your name correctly. Like, Miss DeVille is spelled always correctly, but it's always like it's M-I-S-S, okay? And when people put like M-S, I get so annoyed. Or when they don't capitalize the V, I'm like...
Well, we're talking about that for a second. What gets me annoyed is when people look at me, they're like, oh, your name is, J-O-H-N. I'm like, no, it's J-O-N.
Yeah.
It's very, and I get the confusion. Believe me, I've seen it.
Yeah, because it's like, there's multiple spellings of your name and my name too. My first name.
Well, the funny thing is, I had a guy I remember years ago who spelled my name out, and he actually spelled it all the three ways you can see it: J-O-H-N, J-O-N, and my actual name, which is Jonathan.
Jonathan, yeah.
Spelled it J. He spelled it J. I saw it one time, and I blew me away. It was J-O-H-N-A-T-H-A-N. I was like, "Are you trying to combine all three of them into one now?"
That's funny.
But no, it was definitely. But I totally get that though. But going back to you, obviously we found out this week that Chris Envy, the owner of the Dynasty, is taking you off commentary for this show.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's going to be. I don't know how long that's going to be. I got to admit, what was your reaction when you found out about that?
Well, it was done because he wants me to focus on being a general manager. He wants me to put all my energy towards that. So I know it was done out of love. I'm going to miss being a commentator for Dynasty. He told me I am welcome to guest commentate anytime I want. And that I'm family and there's always a place for me here. Obviously, I'm general manager now. But he basically just took me off commentary so that I can focus on this big responsibility he's given me. And I'm very thankful, honestly. After I stopped wrestling, I wanted to do something in this field. I loved commentary, but I also wanted to help elevate other women. And there are Facebook statuses years ago of me talking about doing this. So it is something I actually wanted to do, is manage other women and elevate other women to new heights in pro wrestling. So this is like my dream job. So if I have to be off commentary for a little bit to focus on it, I'm gonna.
Hey, I think you want to chase your dream job, and you've gotten it. Now that you're the general manager, what are some of the goals that you want to bring with the Diamonds Division?
I just want to keep bringing in great female talent that people may have not heard of before. Like I have a girl coming in from Puerto Rico. I have vets coming in. I have women from all over coming in that are relatively new and very talented. And I just want to introduce new talent to this division. We don't always have to bring in like the biggest names and the ones with the most credentials. It's about introducing new stars and, elevating talented good people, because I'm only going to be elevating the best of the best, inside and out.
No, and I get that, and I applaud you for that, because you see too many times in pro wrestling, I'm not going to mention promotions by name, but I hope people figure out where I'm going with this, where promotions either rely too much on the big name people or the people that they're like, oh, these guys are going to bring in people. Yay. What you're doing.
I get why they do that.
No.
And I think every wrestling promotion does that a little. But
Well,
go ahead.
No. But what you're doing is you're focusing on bringing in the unknowns and building them up.
Yeah, I want to discover new talent, new women's talent, because there's so much. There's so much women's talent, and not enough is used in New York. So I want to bring new women's talent to New York, and then being like, oh, she works in New York now? Oh, Dynasty booked her? Oh, cool.
And the one thing I've noticed, because obviously you know I go to a lot of independent shows. I feel like every week I'm on the road at another independent show. The one thing you don't see a lot of is women's wrestling.
Yeah.
With the exception like that. With the exception of what the Dynasty is doing, and there's a company down in Jersey, I think you've heard of them, Bree Combination Wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Who does their Queen of the North show the last number of years. I always feel like and a lot of times the women wrestlers, I mean, we've seen it with other people like Christina Marie, Adina Steele. Sometimes they put on the best match of the night.
Oh,
but
yeah.
People forget about it because they're either opening the show or they're either middle of the show, and it's like,
yep,
you can't do that to these women. I think sometimes the women get overlooked big time.
Yeah, it's been like that forever, John. They've always been the popcorn match, and they always. There are times when they were taken seriously, but for the majority, yeah, they're not taken seriously. They're put in. I was always opening match. I was always the match right after intermission, or the third match. That's a popular one for women. The third match. I don't know why. Probably because it's popcorn time. I don't know. I plan to change that. I plan for people to go to Get Up and then see some crazy crap going on in the ring put on by women and being like, oh, I need to see this. I'm going to sit down a little more. And then they can go get popcorn for another turds match, but not the women's match.
Could there be a possibility? I know years ago, the Dynasty had a few all-women shows. I'm not saying it for now, but do you think there's a possibility of bringing that back at some point? Okay, that answers my question. That answers my question right there. Yeah. But like I said, I can't wait to see what you bring for this women's division. I think appointing you as the GM, I think was the best decision that Chris made.
Thank you.
Yeah. And honestly, to get the chance to be there as I call it, the start of the Killer Queen era. I know that's the proper way to put it, but it works. It works.
I love it.
I honestly cannot wait to see what
Killer Queen.
What you bring, what this women's division brings, because like I said, women's wrestling, I've said this on the Matriarchs podcast plenty of times, women's wrestling gets overlooked incredibly.
Sure does.
And
we're going to change that. We're going to change that at Dynasty.
And like I said, I cannot wait to see what you have in store for this women's division. And hopefully, and I think you can, hopefully, Taylor can kind of get reined in a little bit or chill out. Maybe that's the way to put it.
She'll have to, because the rules are being reinforced now, Taylor. So,
but other than being a general manager, you're also one half of Matriarchs of the Mat.
Yeah. Billy, my girl Billy, shout out.
And I just want to talk about that quickly. I know you guys just dropped your second episode with the aforementioned Sergeant Fury.
Yeah. We just dropped our second episode.
How does it feel being on the podcasting side of it? It's
an adjustment for sure. I'm used to this side, being interviewed, and now I'm doing the interviewing, and let me just say, Billy is such a lifesaver. She's so good at what she does that I don't know if I could do it without her. I don't know if I could. So like, it really helps that she's there. But it's an adjustment. An adjustment I think I'll get used to because I'm a fast learner, but an adjustment nonetheless.
Believe me, take it from somebody like me. I've been doing this for 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And most of the shows that I have done have failed in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
This is the first show, Around the Ropes podcast is the first show where I can actually sit there and say, no, I created that and it's actually becoming something.
Good, John. I'm happy for you. That's
Thank
great.
You. And and I think in the 13 years, I've seen a lot of podcasts come and go. And I said this to Billy, I said this to you, and I'll say this again. I think you guys definitely have something there. And as much as I can, I put you guys over big time on Around the Ropes. And like I said, anything I can do to help you guys, because for once I can actually sit there and say I'm the veteran. In this scenario,
yeah.
I'm more than willing to help.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
that means a lot, and I will be coming to you, I'm sure.
Absolutely. All you have to do is you know where to find me.
Yeah, I do.
But where can the fans listen to Matriarchs of the Mat? Which YouTube. By the way, I was about to say, if you're not subscribed yet, what's taking you so long?
Yeah,
I'm just going to say
seriously. Get on YouTube right now, Matriarchs of the Mat. That's where we are. We're on YouTube. And
no, go ahead.
We also post some lives on Facebook sometimes, but YouTube is where our episodes are.
And I was just going to say, while you're subscribing to Matriarchs of the Mat, hit the subscribe button for Around the Ropes as well. We can always use it.
Yeah, our buddy, our brother podcast.
And like I said, between you and Billy, like I said, anything I can do to help, anything I can do to help you guys elevate that show, I'm here. I can definitely help guide you guys in the right direction, because like I said, I've been in, and again, this is weird for me to sit here and say this, but I've been in the position of starting a podcast.
Yeah,
trust me,
it's hard work, right?
It's hard work and a lot of goddamn dedication.
It is, and we're two single moms, so we're struggling a little, but we're doing it slowly but surely.
You guys definitely are, and guys, again, the link for Matriarchs of the Mat will be in the description below.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, I'll put it this way: I've already subscribed, so Around the Ropes has subscribed. So what's taking you guys so long?
There you go. Sell it, John. Sell it.
But again, Kristin, I appreciate you hopping on with me. It means a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. You always have an open door with the show. Anytime you like to come back on, all you can do is just tell me, John, I want to hop on, and we can definitely work out something. And eventually I will have you on the live show.
Oh, yeah, I want to do a live show.
You definitely will. But
I'm a fan of those.
Oh, I remember the comments from this past Tuesday.
I just like people to be like, what is wrong with her?
That's one of the best parts about doing a live show is the comment section. But again,
what's
guys,
wrong with that lady?
Kristin, where can the fans connect with you on social media, and anything else you'd like to plug before we wrap up?
Yeah, my social media, I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on TikTok too. But it's Kristin. No, scratch that. It's Deville. Deville in Bloom. So DEVILLE in IN Bloom, like a flower. BLOOM. So that's my username on both Facebook and Instagram to find me.
And guys, again, you can also find Kristin with Billy, Matriarchs of the Mat. Hit the subscribe button. Like I said, the description for that will be the link for their show. That's what I meant to say. will be in the description box below, as also the link to buy your tickets for this Saturday will also be in the description below. Again, guys, go to purplepass.com/the letter B, the number 4, Impact. That's the letter B, the number 4, Impact. Guys, you're not going to want to miss the show. I have stressed this all week. The Dynasty is the place to be this coming Saturday. Again, Kristin, thank you for hopping on with me. I appreciate it a lot.
Appreciate it.
For Miss DeVille, I'm John. This has been Around the Ropes Podcast. We'll catch you guys next time right here on the Around the Ropes Podcast.